Ladies and gentlemen, the American Jerry and Bulldog Nation, welcome to the Eric Deters Show. As always, we're sponsored by Deters Consulting, Parks Yoga. Check us out on all of our platforms. Our top story is this golf merger between LIV and PGA Tour. They've decided to come together. Donald Trump expected this. He called it. And you know what? Monahan, the PGA director, taking a little bit of heat, being contradictory, but I thought he handled it pretty well. When Monahan said, hey, circumstances change. And the reality of it is, regardless of who said what about anything, this is the perfect solution for the golfers and for the game of golf, the professional golf, and everything else. So I think it's a good thing that happened. LIV, PGA merging together, problem solved. Everybody will be happier. And Trump did call it. Chris Christie, the rotund one. Remember that, Sabrina. That's going to be his new nickname, the rotund one. The rotund one, just thought of that. The rotund one is entering the race. This guy is as round as he is tall. I will never forgive him for several things. I will never forgive him for hugging out good old Barack Obama and talking up Barack Obama days before the election when the hurricane hit New Jersey. I will never forgive him for that. I'll also never forgive him for the abandonment of Trump. Bottom line is Chris Christie has no chance. And those people that say Chris Christie's going to be the Trump stalker, Trump will eat him alive. I had dinner with a doctor, liberal friend of mine last night at Waltz. He's liberal. He's the old Kennedy type liberal, though. He's not a woke liberal. For example, he's worried to death about Kamala Harris becoming president. And he can't stand Trump. And we have civil discussions on politics. And I looked at him and I said, do you think by now there's any Trump base, Trump supporters who are going to abandon him after everything he's been through, including being indicted? He goes, nope. I said, exactly. They're all wasting their time. He agreed. What is Chris Christie going to say about Donald Trump that's going to make any of us Trump supporters abandon Trump? Waste of time. Tommy Tuberville, the United States Senator from Alabama, who's the former head coach of Auburn and UC Bearcats, has endorsed Donald Trump. Good for him. Bud Light. Sales dropped 24% in the last 4 weeks. They keep going. They can't give away Bud Light. Tragic Virginia high school shooting. I think there was 7, 8, 9 people shot. 2 have died. A 19-year-old is a suspect. I think they have him in custody. Sad. At a high school graduation in Richmond, Virginia. Hunter's got to show up in divorce court in July and face contempt charges for lying about his financial records. Wouldn't it be hilarious? All the stuff going on with Hunter, and it's his domestic relations. By the way, I want to tell you something. There's a reason you got to be careful about the little stuff. I'm very conscious of it in my own life. All but the want of a horseshoe nail, the whole war was lost. Remember that poem. You got to be careful about the little stuff. You know what? I used to say this all the time. Nobody knows the name of the guy who shot and killed Wild Bill Hickok. Nobody knows his name. He's the guy that shot and killed Wild Bill Hickok. Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson did a 10-minute monologue on Twitter. I think there's 14 million views and counting already. Such power. I want to be like Tucker Carlson. UFO whistleblower says we have space carnage, space wreckage from UFOs, and we're not talking about it, blah, blah, blah. You know what? I don't understand at all the government not telling everybody about this stuff. I see no good reason not to do it. And by the way, I think things have changed. I think we all think there's aliens now. Don't you? I do. I used to never think that. Damar Hamlin, my man, happy for him. Damar Hamlin is now playing football at the all-season activities. How you like that? He's back playing football. By the way, I think it's crazy. But you know what? It's his life. He loves football. Keep playing football. Not every day, but some days we got some good stuff in history, and I want to share a few things with you. World War II, this was the battle, this day in history, at Midway, where we wiped out the Navy, the Japanese Navy. It's a great story. Been movies written about it. I love the story. Where we wiped out 3 of their aircraft carriers. Boom. Changed the whole Navy. First Crusade. The first crusade arrived in Jerusalem in 1099. By the way, I think his name was Urban the Ninth. He's the one that said if you go on a crusade, you'll get indulgences and get into heaven. Don't you love the way the popes have done that in history? And Richard Henry Lee presented the Lee Resolution, known as the Resolution of Independence of the Second Continental Congress, on this day in history on June 7, 1776. Richard Henry Lee was a big founding father that was forgotten. Coming up next, Eric Deters' Local News with yours truly. Welcome to Eric Deters' Local News, sponsored by Deters Consulting, Parks Yoga. Check us out on all of our platforms. And the first story, our lead story, is a generic story. I've titled it Committees and Task Forces. Please take no offense if you're somebody who's on a committee and a task force, okay? But I get so sick and tired of the committee and task force game that government plays. You know what? Why do you need a committee and a task force? If you've got people who are already knowledgeable of something, why do you need them? And you know what? The bottom line is this is an abuse process. I'm going to set up a committee. I'm going to set up a task force. All that kind of stuff. Really? Why? Why are they necessary? By the way, I get that some of them are necessary. For example, I understand congressional committees. I do. I understand there's got to be some congressional committees. But I'm just saying the committees and task force game is overplayed, and it gets old. It's almost like an appeasement of trying to make people feel important, be part of something. And again, please don't take any offense. Many of you are members of committee and task force. But I think committees and task force are overrated. Find me one good person that knows what the hell they're talking about. A committee of one, a task force of one. All right, law and crime. Covington rental scam. Covington police are warning you that there's some scam. You know what the scam is? People don't own the property and they're trying to rent it to you. Pretty good scam if you get away with it. I guess what they do is they take the deposits and say, see you later. A shooting in Evanston last night. Boy, isn't that shocking? No, it's not. Another shooting. Boone County truancy. 22 parents stood before a Boone district judge yesterday and pled guilty to truancy, got fined a couple $100. Many of these parents expressed some terrible stories about what are they supposed to do. They said, short of laying hands on them and force them to get on the bus, and if I do that, social services get called. There's some really tough situations, I'm sure, on truancy. A driver was clocked in Ohio yesterday going 132 miles per hour. What's the fastest you've ever gone? Full disclosure, I went 140 in my new quote-unquote Audi that I bought from Bill Tobin's mom once on Easter Sunday out on I-71 in Boone County when there was nobody on the road. I just wanted to see what it would feel like. And you know what? When I got to 140, I said to myself, what if a tire blew out? And I said, oops. That's the fastest I've been is 140. This is 132. All right, in local news, St. Elizabeth Medical Center is dropped. Well, not St. Elizabeth Medical Center, but there was somebody that escaped from a mental hospital and then cut a generator or screwed up a generator or something, cut the electricity to their eye institute. The charges were dropped. The grand jury refused to indict him. So Kate Malloy dropped the charges, the judge. I think it's probably because of his mental capacity. They probably decided he didn't have the mental state to commit the crime. Good news for him. Daniel Cameron's coming up here on Friday. As I've stated before, I'm supporting his candidacy, despite the fact that I was proven right about him and Mitch McConnell. But he's coming to Northern Kentucky. I think it's 10 o'clock out in Boone County Courthouse. In addition to that, he's going to be going down the Metropolitan Club and meeting in secret with like 20 community leaders, I'm sure all connected to Mitch McConnell in one way, shape, or form. Yes, I know about it. Best workplaces came out. This is another thing about Task Force Committee. Best workplace. You know what this is? This is all to generate goodwill and generate all of this glad handing, award giving, and everything else. Really? Best workplaces. The awards. It's everybody makes fun of the trophies. Everybody gets a trophy. Well, the adults do the same thing. It's called constant awards. Awards. This weekend, the Newport Italian Fest is going to be held down in Newport on the Levee. Been there many times. I like it. In Kentucky news, Daniel Cameron has named Terry Carmack, Mitch McConnell's right-hand political advisor, as a senior advisor. What does that mean? McConnell's running Cameron's campaign. In Ohio, they say there's a mysterious COVID-19 strain that was detected in central Ohio. They got to find the guy. Really? The Senate budget, universal vouchers and 1.5 billion tax cuts. Will it come to fruition? We'll wait and see. And in sports, UK baseball, they made it to the finals. Yay, yay, yay. Ella De La Cruz made his debut last night. The Reds came back from 5 runs down to win 9-8, and he batted 5 times, 2 walks, strikeout, a double. One of his outs, he hit like a rocket, but he was 3 for 1, so he's batting .333 already. This guy's got all the skills. He's an amazing player. Coming up next, world news with my buddy, my mate, Jamie Spinley, who makes a really good croquet set field.
Hello again, the top stories from around the world. Air India is set to send a replacement plane to stranded passengers in Russia. A US flight had to make an emergency landing in Russia yesterday. 216 passengers and 16 crew members were all on board. At least 4 people are dead after a deadly earthquake hit parts of Haiti just after heavy flooding left 42 dead. The quake was a 4.9 magnitude. Water levels are expected to peak later today in Kherson after the dam collapsed yesterday. Thousands of nearby people have already been evacuated. Some 42,000 are at risk from flooding. Ukraine and Russia have placed blame on each other for the dam's collapse. Wildfires still continue in Canada, leaving potential dangerous air quality. Large areas of Quebec and Ontario were covered in an orange haze, reaching into the northeastern parts of USA. And in sports, Europa Conference final will see West Ham United from England take on Fiorentina from Italy later this evening. Until tomorrow, have a fantastic day. From Eric and I, take care.